Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Stories around the world, stories here at home. This is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Charita Minipurarachi.
And I'm Kasani Balachandra Adhikari. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
708,230 pensioners to receive pension salaries tomorrow. A special salary increment for state employees who reported for duty. Appreciation certificate for promotions. New regulations to maintain an uninterrupted education and health service. Strike action launched by a minor segment of state employees cause further disruptions. Cabinet approval to increase the examination paper marking fee. Opposition leader accepts the solution for unemployment graduates is not only the state service. Putin and Modi engage with bilateral talks.
We move on to those and other stories in detail, and in your top local story tonight, the Pension Department says that despite the ongoing strike by government employees, pensions will be paid as scheduled.
Director General of the department, Jagat Dita, said that the relevant funds were released to the banks today.
The pensions for 708,231 registered pensioners are due tomorrow. Accordingly, the Pension Department said that a total of 28.5 billion rupees was distributed to 24 public and private banks as well as the Postal Department. As a result, approximately 99.5% of the pensioners will receive their pension tomorrow without delay. However, due to the closure of divisional secretariats yesterday and today, around 13,000 pensioners will receive their payments on the 11th of July.
The government has decided to grant special salary increment as a token of appreciation for the non-executive government employees who reported for duty on the 8th and 9th of July. This increment was approved by the Cabinet of Ministers following President Vikramasinghe's proposal. A special appreciation certificate will also be extended for them, which could be considered for future promotions.
Non-executive government employees who reported for duty yesterday and today will be granted a special salary increment as a token of appreciation for their dedication during a challenging economic period. A special appreciation certificate will also be extended for these officials, which could be considered for future promotions. Accordingly, the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government has been directed to inform all ministry secretaries, department heads and provincial chief secretaries to issue the relevant circulars. Despite previous economic instability, the government managed to stabilize the situation through extensive economic reforms implemented over the last 2 years, including the provision of a monthly allowance of 10,000 rupees to all public servants. The Treasury Secretary highlighted the existing financial constraints, stating that further salary or allowance increases would not be feasible without imposing additional tax burdens on the public. The government remains committed to avoiding decisions that could worsen the financial strain on citizens already facing economic challenges. Nonetheless, the government acknowledges its responsibility to recognize and assess non-executive officials who fulfill their duties without resorting to disruptive measures during this critical period. Accordingly, the government has recognized the responsibility to commend those state employees who reported for duty on the 8th and 9th of July without engaging in trade union action.
And meanwhile, the strike action launched by a section of state employees has severely inconvenienced the public today. The teacher principal trade unions continue to engage in the strike action with a sick leave campaign even today. Several trade unions are engaged in the strike action with several demands, including the allocation of 25,000 rupee allowance for non-executive state employees, which was previously allocated for executive employees. The academic activities of many schools in various parts of the country were disrupted, with the teacher principal trade unions refrained from reporting to duty while being on sick leave today. Some of the students had visited the schools today with the intention to sign for the GCE Advanced Level Examination admissions, which has also been disrupted. Security units of several schools took measures to send students back home from schools. However, students who had arrived from distant parts faced various difficulties with no adequate transport services to return home. Certain post offices were also closed due to the strike action launched by the postal employees. However, employees at the Beliata post office continued to provide services to the public without engaging in the strike action. Public who had arrived at the Tamankadua Divisional Secretariat in Polonnaruwa to obtain services faced severe difficulties due to the strike action launched by the trade unions. Meanwhile, the Naval Market National Development conducted a protest rally in objection of the state trade unions which were engaged in the strike actions. Various organizations and social activists who are engaged and against unjustifiable trade actions in the country showed their displeasure in this regard. General Secretary of the National Organizations to Safeguard Public Rights, Venerable Palanangama Samithathera, expressed his displeasure over the strike action launched by the trade unions. He said that both state employees and the government should work together at this juncture to rebuild the nation.
Politicians also shared remarks over the strike action launched by a section of the state employees. State Minister Shanta Bandar said that these sections are attempting to sabotage the government progress. He said that these strike actions have been launched with the intention to cause severe difficulties for the general public and gain power through such actions. Parliamentarian Hector Puhami said that Janata Vimukti Peramuna has committed various atrocities in the past. He said that they are in the front line to collapse the country. He said that they are attempting to create internal issues within the state sector which could favour them in the elections. He also said that engaging in a strike action with an election at large and attempting to take advantage by causing severe difficulties to the public is a wrongful act.
නැති කරනවා කියන්නේ ඡන්දෙට පෙර තමුන්ට වාසියක් ලබා ගන්න මේ වැඩේ එච්චර හොඳයි කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරන්නේ නැහැ. සමහර අයට දේශපාලන
Parliamentarian Vajra Abhivadana said that if 5,000 teachers amongst 250,000 are attempting to demean the profession by resorting to such actions, then these measures should be reconsidered in an effort to safeguard the profession. He said that such entities use democracy as a tool to spread terrorism to achieve their target of state power.
Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that the Cabinet of Ministers has reached a policy decision to introduce new laws to continue uninterrupted education and health services. He made these remarks during a meeting held with the heads of state media. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa was empowered to look into the completion of a new law which would prevent any form of sabotage on services pertaining to basic rights such as educational help. He said that the President mentioned that the Attorney General has conveyed the possibility to compile legal draft which could penalize those who sabotage the public from receiving such services, including education. He said that the Sri Lankan government considers the protection of students, patrons and the others who receive public services in a responsibility and a duty vested with them.
A decision has been made to increase the paper marking fees for the GCE Ordinary Level Examination and Grade 5 Scholarship Examination. Accordingly, the Ministry of Education informs that the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to increase the examination paper marking fees based on the recommendations of the subcommittee, which includes the Department of Examinations.
And meanwhile, a comprehensive policy document titled Vision 2030 was presented to President Ranil Wickremesinghe today at the Presidential Secretariat. The document was prepared by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. The document outlines a strategic roadmap for Sri Lanka to achieve sustainable and inclusive development by the year 2030. Vision 2030 also analyzes the economic trajectory Sri Lanka should follow over the next 5 years, detailing necessary policy changes across various sectors and their anticipated benefits to the economy. Aiming for a 6.5% GDP growth rate and inflation and unemployment rates below 5%, key goals include enhancing education, healthcare, agriculture and digital infrastructure. Additionally, it calls for fostering public-private partnership, implementing regulatory reforms, making substantial infrastructure investments and ensuring climate change's readiness.
Sri Lanka Telecommunications Amendment Bill presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe was passed in Parliament today. The Act was updated after 28 years and many reforms have been introduced through the amendment in line with the Digital Economic Strategy 2030. Meanwhile, Kadiravelu Shanmugam Kugadasan was sworn in as a Member of Parliament this morning. He took oaths before Speaker Mahindayapa Abeyewardena.
Kadiravelu Shanmugam Kugadasan was named to fill the parliamentary seat that fell vacant following the passing of former TNA leader R. Sampanthan. He contested at the last general election from the Trincomalee district. Opposition leader Sajith Premadas said that as per his knowledge, the unemployed graduates is close to 50,000. He further questioned whether the graduates from free education system are entering into unemployment. Minister Manush Nanayakara said that the state service require a workforce of 1 million to operate at present. He further said that however, under the former governments, the state sector workforce increased to 1.7 million, while government appointments were given to graduates thrice in the recent past. Responding to a question on the government appointments of unemployed graduates, Minister Nanayakara questioned what the opposition leader proposes to achieve under his government policy and whether they are employing all the graduates. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara said that some are requesting a salary hike. The Secretary to the Treasury is stating that a VAT or another tax must be increased by another 3 or 4% in order to increase salaries as such. He questioned the opposition when they are to come to power, how they are planning to pay salaries to the state employees and how they are planning to increase salaries for the existing state employees. In response to the question, opposition leader Sajith Premadas said that the issue of unemployed graduates cannot be resolved only by the state sector. He also said that they have proposed a new program which has 1 million new business startups and 1 million new entrepreneurs. Minister Manush Nanayakara said that some are deceiving the youth by giving false promises and leading them nowhere, resulting in creating an unrest among the youth. Minister Nanayakara further expressed that the opposition leader himself said that not all the graduates are needed to be employed in the state sector, which was the answer they expected.
The crisis of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was also taken up during the parliamentary debate today. Former President Maithripala Sirisena said that a minister from SLFP recently claimed that the former president would end up either in Balikada or Angoda. He then inquired whether the minister is intending to put him in jail with the influence of the judiciary. He said that the collapse of the party resulted with a faction of the party opted to stand with the government. He said that this faction took ministerial portfolios despite the decision taken by the ministerial portfolios central committee of the party not to take up any ministerial portfolios. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that he made no such statement to media. He said that he would never defame any former presidents of the country. The minister said that they worked with former President Maithripala Sirisena as well. However, he inquired regarding the court case pertaining to the parliamentarian Jayasiri Jayashekara. He said that the former president took up the chairmanship of the party 142 seats, but he managed to reduce it to 2 seats at present.
Parliamentarian Rajat Senaratne says that the political rulings of the country should be carried out without harming the nation. He pointed out that all should direct a special attention on how swiftly the country managed to overcome the suffered economic collapse with limited supplies of electricity, fuel and investment opportunities. He made these remarks while speaking to the media today. Parliamentarian Rajat Senaratne said that based on the recent surveys, the popularity for JVP has come down and the current president has gained momentum in the presidential run. He said that the country has reached a positive level by overcoming an economic collapse with limited supplies of electricity, fuel and investment opportunities. Accordingly, he said that Sri Lanka is one of the few countries in the world which had overcome the bankruptcy status swiftly.
And meanwhile, President Secretary Saman Ekanayake clarifies that there is no constitutional requirement to appoint the most senior officer from the Aegis Department. He made these remarks in response to a letter from the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. In response to a letter from the Bar Association of Sri Lanka about appointing the Attorney General based on seniority, the President Secretary has indicated that it has not been the practice in the past. The President Secretary has further informed that the Bar Association of Sri Lanka should not advocate a single candidate among other qualified individuals for the post of Attorney General.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that many teachers were given appointments last week, even when some said not to give them. He said that the appointments were confirmed amidst challenges. The Prime Minister made these remarks yesterday during an event held in Northwestern Province. Accordingly, the ceremony to avoid appointment letters was held at the Nathandya City Hall. 800 local government employees in the Northwestern Province received appointment letters from the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that thousands of appointments of teachers were given in the last month. He said that some people criticized and urged not to give appointments. He said that the appointments handed over today were confirmed amidst challenges as the government has become stronger to provide these. He also said that appointments have been given twice this year, and he added that the existence of free healthcare and free education is for the future of our children. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasizes that the profound connection persists between Buddhism and the modern scientific and technological world.
He made these remarks while taking part in the Amarapura Day celebration of the Sri Lanka Amarapura Mahanikaya held at the Samaragamuwa Provincial Council Auditorium yesterday. The President highlighted that the teachings of Lord Buddha offer insights to win future global challenges. The Amarapura Day commemorated the 222nd year legacy of the founders who dedicated themselves to the Sambuddha Sasana. The event was organized by the Samaragamuwa Amarapura Samagri Sangha Sabha. Acting Chief of the Amarapura Mahanayaka, Most Venerable Uyanguda Maitri Murthy Mahanayaka Thera, persisted over the ceremony. The Mahanayaka, representing the 22 sections of the Amarapura Mahanikaya, conveyed their blessings to the President. In recognition of President Ranil Wickremesinghe's efforts to the improvement of the country and the support of all factions within the Amarapura Nikaya, a commemorative gift was presented to him. Acting Chief of the Amarapura Mahanikaya, Most Venerable Uyanguda Maitri Murthy Mahanayaka Thera, said that the religious contributions made by the Amarapura Sangha Sabha to the country have been immense and diverse according to recognition. It is crucial to address issues among lay people, including those who undermine the integrity of the noble Dhamma. He said that legal measures should be considered to address these concerns. Initiatives must be launched to make temples central to village life and enhance Dhamma school education. Addressing the gathering, President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that since its inception, the Amarapura Mahanikaya has maintained a tradition of honoring its founding leaders. Amarapura Nikaya holds a significant place in the history of modern Sri Lanka, originated under the leadership of Venerable Balavita Mahakarave Jana Vimalathi Suthera. He said that in the 20th century, amidst a Buddhist revival and the Sinhala movement's strength, the Amarapura Mahanikaya played a pivotal role in shaping Sri Lanka's social fabric, contributing to religious, political and societal discourse. He further said that the contributions of the Amarapura Mahanikaya and therefore regarded as profoundly momentous, shaping his historical narrative of the nation. He said that in today's world dominated by scientific and technological advancements, the nation is witnessing unprecedented changes. With a significant global focus on artificial intelligence, it is imperative for the global nation nations to focus on artificial intelligence, it is imperative for the nation to also concentrate on this field. Over the next 5 to 10 years, he said that the country needs to explore the intersection between AI technology and the human mind. To initiate this exploration, the President said that he is directed to the Ministry of Technology to launch a government-funded research program on the relationship between Buddhism and AI technology.
A discussion on the pre-preparations pertaining to the election was held at the Election Commission premises today. The IGP Government Printer and Postmaster General was summoned for this discussion. Pre-preparation activities including deployment of employees for election duties and financial expenditure were discussed at the meeting. The relevant agencies are expected to brief the Election Commission on the financial expenditure of the election. IGP Deshabandhu Thenakun said that all necessary preparations will be made following the declaration of the election. He said that the Election Commissioner made remarks on how to make pre-preparations pertaining to the election.
Saman Kumara Vitanarachi, after serving for more than 20 years, bid farewell to the national television family today. He served as a producer of the marketing production unit of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. The final rites of late Saman Kumara Vitanarachi was held at the Talahena Cemetery this evening. Late Saman Kumara Vitanarachi joined the national television in the year 2001. He continued to extend his utmost to the production of the national television. The 52-year-old was a father to 2 children at his demise. At the time of his passing from a sudden illness, he was working in a production of the national television in Anuradhapura area. He was a resident in Hokandara and his remains were kept at a private funeral parlour. His remains were taken to the Talahena Cemetery this evening for the final rites. Officials of the National Television's marketing unit and other corporation staff members as well as Sri Lanka Board of Investment officials were present at this occasion. A Turkish naval ship arrived in the island today after many years, further assuring the long-standing Turkish-Sri Lankan cooperation. TCG Kinalida of the Turkish Naval Forces arrived at the port of Colombo on a formal visit this morning. The visiting ship welcomed by the Sri Lankan Navy in compliance with the naval traditions. Deputy Ambassador of Turkey to Sri Lanka, Bevi Gotsi Orlu, was present on this occasion. The aim of this visit is to improve the defence cooperation between Sri Lanka and Turkey, education Sri Lankan naval officers on the latest technological methods, and exchange of defence information are the other objectives of this visit. The ship will engage in a passage exercise with a Sri Lankan Navy deep in Colombo seas. The 99.5-metre long ship serves in the Turkish Naval Forces and the ship is manned by 152 crew members. And that's it on tonight's local stories. Stay tuned with international news after this break.
Macang, prima kotumi, fantamai.
Taking a look at your foreign news tonight, India's newly re-elected Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Moscow yesterday for a 2-day visit.
The visit aims to balance the country's long-standing relationship with Russia while courting close security ties with the West. Prime Minister Narendra Modi flew into Moscow yesterday and warmly hugged President Vladimir Putin on a visit that threads a fine line between maintaining a long-standing relationship with Moscow and courting close Western security ties. The visit was the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the first visit since Russia launched its campaign in Ukraine. After meeting Moscow's Indian community, the Indian Prime Minister had an informal meeting with the Russian President at his residence.
Ukrainians had been observing a day of mourning after a spate of Russian missile attacks killed dozens of civilians yesterday. At least 2 workers at Ukraine's largest children's hospital were killed and 16 people were injured, including 7 children, with the search for those trapped under the rubble continued today. Russia denied attack in the hospital, blaming the damage on fragments of a Ukrainian air defense missile. Ukrainian officials, however, said that they found parts of a Russian cruise missile at the scene. The strike on the children's hospital was likely caused by a direct hit from a Russian missile, the head of the United Nations Human Rights Monitoring Mission said today.
From Ukraine to USA wildfires, the foreign media reported over 146 million Americans were under extreme heat alerts as dangerous weather sparks new wildfires. A severe heat wave had shattered temperature records across the western United States and was linked to 4 deaths in Oregon. Salem hit 39.4 Celsius degrees, and excessive heat warnings from the National Weather Service caused parts of California, Nevada, Arizona, Oregon and Washington and Idaho. Firefighters were battling numerous new blaze ignited by the extreme heat. As of yesterday, 73 large active fires were burning across the country, covering nearly 500,000 acres. A wildfire in Santa Barbara County, California has consumed over 20,000 acres of land and was 8% contained. Evacuation order had not been issued for the area.
A team of researchers in China developed a robotic dog aimed at helping visually impaired people with navigation. The 6-legged robot developed by Shanghai Jiao Tong University School of Mechanical Engineering uses cameras and sensors to function and identify traffic signals. The robot's current voice recognition accuracy rate is over 90% and its response time was less than 1 second. This helped it react to understand voice instructions from visually impaired people quickly and correctly. According to researchers, through clever two-way communication, the robot can simultaneously give vocal orders and offer real-time feedback on its surroundings and gait.
Tinamu macang, prima kotumi, fantamai.
And from the world of sports, the first under-19 unofficial test match between Sri Lanka and England was commenced yesterday.
The match is underway in Walmsley, England. Winning the toss, England invited Sri Lanka to bat first. Sri Lanka for the first innings scored 177 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in 42 overs. Diniru Kalupahana is not out for 70, while Diniru Abevikrama is not out for 35. French picked up 2 wickets for 56 runs.
Tinamu macang, prima kotumi, fantamai.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. I'm Charita signing off with Kasuni. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.